As a shamanic practitioner, you can use shamanic techniques to connect especially well with the emotional soul parts of the things around you, as humans, animals, and plants have them in the occult worldview. In order to get in contact with these emotional souls or nature spirits, you have a variety of medicine bags of shamanic techniques at your hands, such as spirit or dream journeys. Beside the spiritual representation of nature, as a shamanic practitioner, you can also get in touch with helping spirits to ask for support for your healing work. Shamanic healing techniques are not just about healing a single part of the body, but about healing the whole soul, because the goal is always to restore the overall harmony. For example, when a lost part of the soul is found and brought back in a trance journey. So we ask ourselves, what is shamanism? In a nutshell, shamanism in the mysteries is a term for spiritual techniques and abilities that were acquired in an earlier evolutionary phase of humanity and unfortunately forgotten. This includes nature mysticism or nature magic, which is not always called shamanism. Shamanism has its origin in the evolutionary stage of the Stone Age and extends into the Bronze Age. Already in the Iron Age there is no more real shamanism, which of course does not mean that there are no more shamans. Even today there are still people who are at the Stone Age or Bronze Age level of development and can certainly practice genuine shamanism. These include, for example, some Indian tribes or other indigenous people. Also, the forces with which the shaman works originate from this stage of evolution. In many Celtic legends it is reported that the Celtic nature spirits are often seen with stone or bronze objects. However, they avoid objects made of iron. This is because the Iron Age is completely foreign to these entities. Even if shamanism originates from an earlier evolutionary stage of mankind, this does not mean a step backwards, if it is done correctly. It is also not a step backwards if the adult human being uses or rediscovers the abilities which he acquired in his childhood. For a modern person, and especially for a magical practitioner, the knowledge of shamanism and the practice of the techniques is a good complement and can provide valuable impulses. Therefore, in the Brotherhood of the Eternal Light, we also offer a training series on this and go into more detail at the end of this video. So much for shamanism itself. But what is the practice of a shaman? The main focus of shamanic practices is to work with the emotional soul. For example, you can use shamanic healing journeys with trance states or dream journeys. These take place on the astral plane or the plane of emotions and allow you to work with the emotional soul of the person to heal it. On the astral plane, besides the spiritual representatives of nature, there are also helping spirits with whom the shaman connects on the same level. Many beings of the invisible world, such as angels, demons, abstract principles also occasionally appear in shamanism, but have their focus more in magic and mysticism. A predominantly magical practitioner works with emphasis on the mental plane. Nowadays, if someone does not happen to grow up in a very remote area, he will always come into contact with the possibilities of modern man. This leads to the fact that even those who work predominantly shamanically include more mental aspects in their work than was the case in early cultures. So far so good, but how exactly can you imagine your work as a shaman? To start your work as a shaman, you can put yourself into a trance state by means of rhythmic singing, dancing, or other rhythmic instruments. We would like to warn against the use of drugs to change the state of mind. The attainment of these states of consciousness by means of drugs is not without risk and can lead to dangerous psychic states of emergency and even death. The ascents of the shamanic path can also be walked without drugs, because the psyche, as well as the body of modern man, is only conditionally able to handle, for example, an indigenous shamanic substance, for example from the Amazon. The indigenous shamans have developed a resistance to these substances over many generations, Just as the Western world, modern man has developed a resistance to alcohol, which some indigenous people cannot handle. The states of consciousness, expanded through rhythmic song or dance, you can now use, for example, for your healing work. Shamanic healing techniques are not necessarily about healing the body, but primarily about healing the soul. An example of healing work here can be finding and bringing back a lost part of the soul through the shamanic journey. The shaman's view of health and healing here differs from that of the modern medical practitioner and is much more comprehensive with regard to the emotional soul. Often, shamanism is put on a level with medicine man tribal chiefs or indigenous cultures. Although medicine men are often also shamans, this alone does not constitute shamanic work. Even a person living in the Western world can learn and apply shamanic techniques. And of course, this can be done in harmony with a functioning everyday life and without psychoactive substances. The latter is especially important for a mystery student who also practices magic. Actually, the modern shaman is also a magician, at least in part, because otherwise he could not command the forces of nature. A person on a par with the nature spirits, for example, could not perform a rain charm, because he can only command the nature spirits if he is superior to them. He would ask them for rain. So basically the same what a magician does, who commands the nature spirits but puts the success of his magic under the divine will. In case you have a special interest in shamanism and want to deepen your knowledge, we are offering a more in-depth seminar on this topic this year. We will also record the seminar in case you don't have time on the date, so that you can catch up on the content from home. We have linked our website in the video description and look forward to seeing you there. We are pleased if we could give you some first impressions into the world of shamans with this video, and we are even more pleased if you would have found our content valuable. We would be especially grateful for a like from you, so that our videos can reach more seekers of knowledge just as you found us. Thanks again for being there until the end, and see you soon in the next video.